So about 48 hours after the testimony you just saw, and more than a year after January 6th, today the feds announced that they will charge someone with sedition after all. Now, if you've got any questions about the timing of these charges or the merit of the sedition case the DOJ just announced, the Biden administration would like to remind you to keep those questions to yourself. And just to make certain you do keep them to yourself or are unable to share them with anyone else, today Joe Biden also announced a crackdown on the news media. As he put it, a crackdown on anyone who spreads, quote, disinformation and misinformation about his government. Watch.
If you haven't gotten vaccinated, do it. Personal choice impacts us all, our hospitals, our countries. I make a special appeal to social media companies and media outlets. Please deal with the misinformation and disinformation that's on your shows. It has to stop.
The misinformation that's on your shows. Yeah, message received. It has to stop, Joe Biden says. So that means that big tech and media organizations have to do what he says, just like his vax mandate, found unconstitutional today, by the way. It'll still be enforced because big businesses rely on the government to exist. They take government money. They are regulated from the very top to the very bottom by the government. So it takes a lot to defy the president of the United States. If he tells you to do something, you'd better do it. What Joe Biden is telling media companies to do today is to censor their content so it doesn't contradict his decrees. Now, CNN has no problem with this. In fact, they made fun of what Joe Biden said today. They made fun of his call for censorship, not because it's obviously unconstitutional, which it is, but because it wasn't quite fascist enough. One of those weird-looking media reporters over at CNN wrote this, quote, "I'm sure the Murdochs will get right on this now that this special appeal has been made, exclamation point." So they understand exactly what's going on here. Joe Biden is targeting Fox News for censorship. His call for censorship, by the way, comes after hundreds of doctors and scientists called on Spotify to adopt a misinformation policy that would shut down Joe Rogan's podcast. Rogan recovered from COVID without the vax, and they hate him for it. So it's not just the government, of course, it's people acting on behalf of the government calling for the same thing, which is censorship of political opinions. What you're seeing here is dangerous. There's no other way to describe it. Far more dangerous than domestic terror threat they've been bloviating about for the last 3 days. It contravenes the First Amendment. Under the First Amendment, the government cannot coordinate with private actors to censor free speech, period. The Supreme Court has made that very clear over centuries. And yet that's exactly what's happening. Joe Biden did it today. Care to complain about that? Probably not. You may have noticed what happens to people who complain too much.